The local history group was started by a couple of real enthusiasts many years ago. I mean, I've been involved for 3 or 4 years now, but it's a long-standing group, and it's by far the largest U3A group we've got in Wales. We've got about 140 members, of whom thankfully 130 have email, because I don't know how we'd cope otherwise. And its aim really is to just bring items of interest, local history defined very, very broadly, to the people who are interested in coming and hearing talks on various topics. I think a personal favourite of mine a couple of years ago was on the history of chocolate, and he was an amazing chap, because he'd worked all his life for Cadbury, and they had not only given him a career as a chocolate maker, a chocolate taster, which became an international thing for him, but as a young man they'd also sponsored his athletic ability. He'd qualified twice for the Olympics as a young man in the 400-metre sprint because of their sponsorship and their care for him. So we had a really great one recently on Clevedon Pier, which was again about the history of the pier. And huge fun, because I broadly knew that it was part of the Isambard Kingdom Brunel railway network, and it was a functional thing. It took the railway lines out to the steamers that went up and down the Bristol Channel. But I hadn't known that in the 1960s it became the hotspot of the West Country, because it had the only jukebox this side of Cardiff, apparently. And the chap who was giving the talk was telling us about how because Wales was dry on a Sunday, they'd get an awful lot of trade coming over on the steamers from Cardiff on Saturday night that stayed right through Sunday, enjoying the bar and enjoying the jukebox in the sort of the 1950s and 60s. So Clevedon Pier was the place to be.
In 1866, a committee of the great and good, and it has to be said, a number of local people got together and decided they wanted a pier and they built a pier. And it's incredible, I think, that just 3 years later, the pier was from that meeting to the point where the pier was open was 3 years. And I think about projects nowadays, the lead time. It's a Grade 1. It's the only Grade 1 listed pier in the country. And as one of your friends reminded me earlier, we won for the 3rd time Pier of the Year 2021. We're the only pier to have won that accolade.
How do we make it even more attractive? How do we justify a higher admission price? Well, we need a cafe, we need toilets. How do we do that? Where if we want to put a light fitting on it, we have to get listed building consent. So you can imagine the challenge. And there it is, as it is today, what we call the Glass Box Restaurant. We're running a trial at the moment as a fish and chip restaurant. To be honest with you, if it's a younger audience, I'd probably say to you, can you name those 5 young men? But you can name the group.
One Direction?
Yes. So One Direction put 10% on our visitor numbers for a year, and we still get an uptick on our visitor numbers because people come back and see where One Direction did that video.
Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay!
Yeah, we do have this huge membership because it's really good. We're a really great group.